This is my message to the people that actually listen to me on my YouTube. I tell you, it is so painful to hear of the pain and the hurt of the people that are either going through a divorce, been through a divorce, or looking towards a divorce. When I started my YouTube, basically it was September when I got serious. It was September of 2024. That's when I really got serious about, what do I have to say? And I was 70 years old, and I was at the point in my life that, I don't know what else to do. I'm trying to get a microphone here. I was contemplating talking to you, my audience, to grow my audience, about business, about being an entrepreneur, and how tough it is to be an entrepreneur. However, it's fulfilling, but not everybody can do it. Okay? Here's my microphone. Not everybody can do it, and I could tell you why. I spent 50 years in business, and the more I got into it, the more I got into entrepreneurs that are looking to sell their business, look for a successor, look for a general manager, look to grow their business. And believe me, the last 25 years, I've been through COVID, I've been through 2008, I've been through China, I've been through Mexico, I've been through outsourcing, CAD/CAM operations, very sophisticated opportunities as an entrepreneur. But one thing I got that a lot of people didn't have was I got a shot. And I got a shot from my father. He had a family business and 11 kids and about 350 employees. And things changed. Our number one customer, that was over 90% of our business, decided to go in-house. We weren't prepared for it. My father wasn't prepared for it. My father was, actually ready to retire. He had just bought the business from his partner. And I was in my mid-20s, and then my father gave me the shot. I didn't have no clue what I was doing. Now remember that. I was in my mid-20s, still going to college, 3 children, married, and I was in charge of 350 employees, some temps, some full-time. Full-time were about 150. Our strategy, due to our client giving us the opportunity to reduce our staff over 3 years, we did it. We had to change everything. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because I had a lot of energy at the time, and I had a lot of dreams. But the number one focus I had was the business. And not only the family business, the employees, our customers, my 3 kids, a marriage, and about 9 of the family members were counting on me to turn the business around. Now, why do I say I got the shot? I got the shot because no one else wanted it. It was really tough. And why am I talking about it? It's because soon after that was 1980, and then in 1988, I went through a divorce. Tough times. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Here's why. I had to change my priorities. I had to change my way of doing business. I had to change my attitude and my mindset about traditional marriages, which I was raised with 10 brothers and sisters in a traditional family and family business. I get a lot of comments from you, my audience, still in this pain. Now think about it. It's almost 40 years since reality hit that I went through a divorce. But at the same time, I thought I was on the mountaintop. We went down to 32 employees over those 3 years, and then we grew again to about 150. Well, guess where my head was? 150% on the business, and growing it to the point where all of us would be millionaires, not just me. Of course, I thought the money would come. But it's a long game that you have to understand. And if you're listening to me about divorce, you have to understand it's the long game. Divorce isn't something that you just go through a divorce, you forget about it, and you move on to the next fucking mistake. Now, my analogy is going to be professional sports, or whatever profession you were looking at, and then all of a sudden something happened. Some crisis, some tragedy, or something to excuse yourself that, God, man, I'm not going to become an athlete. I'm not going to become a businessman. I'm not going to become whatever you've been doing. And when you go through a marriage that wasn't healthy, that wasn't part of your dream, I got a lot of therapy, man. I got a lot of therapy because I couldn't talk to anybody. Who am I going to talk to? There was nobody really divorced in my family that had the upside that I had. And I had high expectations, high goals. I was so young that I was like, and I wanted everything done right away. I didn't want any more pain. I wanted the company to grow. I wanted my employees to stick and stay because the employees make it happen. And then with my kids, with the divorce, I had to reshape my whole life. I had to become, in a way, Mr. Mom. And why am I saying this? Because you got to do it. These excuses is about, these comments, Rock, this happened to me, that happened to me, and this. I know I put you up to it, okay? Because you're listening to my previous videos that I'm talking about. Pro se and prenups and make sure you pick the right horse and all this other shit. Well, guess what? I want you to start thinking about it. No more excuses. You have to change. And that's what I did. My secret wasn't a secret. It was a strategy. But it took years to accept the fact that I had to pay alimony for 22 years, that I had child support for all these years, that I had to raise my kids on my own, that I have to discipline them. I have to carry on the legacies of my parents that were probably the perfect parents. Why? 11 kids, they kicked us in the ass. And there was a standard. That standard was not ABC. No, it was excellence. Excellence. And I was in business to be excellent for our clients, for our capabilities, for our profits, for the employees. I wanted our employees to love working at our family business. Love it. And at the same time, I'm working as a workaholic, and I spent those 12 hours. But then I was lucky because I had a great team. I could walk away as a sales guy in the image of the organization. In fact, our tagline was at that time the Can Do graphics company. Can Do. C-A-N-D-O. And you know what they called me? I had my license plate, my vanity license plate. I was the Can Do kid. Everybody was 20, 30 years older than me. I'm talking about my clients. My father gave me the opportunity, but he kicked me in the ass. I have it in a book, my memoir. It's called They Named You Right. It's on Amazon and so on. But the whole story is there. And what I had to go through, the shame, I'll tell you, they treated me like shit while I was going through the divorce. I'm talking about the attorneys, the county. They're talking about shit about deadbeat dads. He's a workaholic. He played too much racquetball. He did this, he did that. I was the bad guy. And not everybody goes through trial. And I did. So I'm just trying to give everybody a heads up, man. You can get through this. If I could do it, you can do it. And here's the steps. The steps is, I'm not going to take this shit. I'm going to be even better. And I didn't care about what everybody thought about me eventually. Because that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to be a great dad. And to be a great dad, I had to discover my purpose. And my purpose, in a way, being brought up by my parents that had 11 kids, there is always an expectation. And the expectation is, don't get in trouble, save for a rainy day, take care of your family, be a good provider, live amongst your means. There was no discussion about college and bettering yourself. No, it was just plain old hard work. In other words, get up and go. But here's the problem. Most people don't have dreams. And going back to the analogy of an athlete, how many athletes actually get to the big major leagues or pros? Very few. What is it? 5% or less? And ones that become superstars is 1%? Well, guess what? You got to look at your overall life, your career, your kids, and get through the divorce. You will get through it, no matter if there's financial obligations or not. You just got to make up for it. And I took a lot of risks. Did I ever think they're going to throw me in jail? Sure, I thought that. If I didn't make my obligations. Do you think anybody really cares? No, nobody cares. Attorneys are gone. Judges are gone. Your ex-spouse is gone. They just want to make sure the money is in the bank. And you can't miss a fucking day. And I'll tell you something. Once my bubble was burst, during the divorce, everything was going downhill. I've mentioned this before. I lost my marriage. I lost my kids in the traditional way. I was demoted at work because they were ashamed of my position as the CEO and president of the company. They reduced my role to sales and marketing. They cut my salary in half before I was divorced. Do you think the court looked at that in a negative way, that we were playing games? Yeah. And my father had to testify at my trial. In a way, I was a loser, in so many words, to the court. Rock's not who he is, thinks he is. He's running the company into the ground. Unbelievable. 1988, 1989. That's how long it's been. And then I went through a divorce in 2022. And that was a strategic exit. EXIT. So the people that have commented were very similar to my first marriage. I didn't see it coming. I wasn't prepared. I'm an idiot. I didn't do what I needed to do to protect myself and my wealth and my kids' wealth. In a way, I had to start all over again. And I was in the hole this time. I was in the hole. Don't feel sorry for me. I feel sorry for you. I've been through it. And now that I'm in my 70s, I've achieved, in a way, everything I wanted to achieve. As a single person, a father, a man of integrity, business. I mean, I even have a father that's going to be 100. And he's sane. I still have that gift and that role model. I'm in my 70s. Do I have another 20, 30 years to live? Don't know. So these comments that are coming to me about, Rock, I'm pissed at the lawyer, or Rock, I'm this, I'm that. No, it's going to get over. It's going to pass. But you have to understand, you got to change your goals. You got to change your dreams. You have to change your priorities. And if your kids are a priority, fuck the career. Because God's going to take care of you anyway, whatever that is. And believe me, in my case, I was lucky. I was lucky that I got a kick in the ass and got all these demotions and obligations. Why? I had to adjust. Otherwise, they're going to throw you in jail. And that's serious. Or your kids are going to call you a deadbeat dad, or you're not going to be able to do things. You could make up for this shit. And understand, it's a long game. I was fortunate to go through my divorce at 33. That was a huge gain. I would go to men's group and these guys are in their 50s and 60s just going through the divorce. I had an opportunity to change everything and raise my kids the way I wanted to. In other words, in our family traditions. My ex-wife, the mother, didn't have the traditions because they had a broken family and they hated each other for years. And so what? Guess what happened? My ex-wife hates me, and that's okay. That's okay. And like I said, I never got to thank you for her lifestyle that she's had. 12 years of marriage and 22 years of spousal maintenance is what? Close to 50 years I took care of her. I just hope that my kids get the money. Oh, don't forget, they don't remarry after you get a breadwinner like me. No way. No way. Because it's down to money. Okay? Now, I started my TikTok and I started my YouTube as a business because I want to help people. And I got a strategy, I got intention, I got purpose. But when I get these comments and I get this anger and so on, I've been there. But listen, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not. You're going to be in the hole for a while, but you got to take some risks, man. And if you're working for a Big Brother or something like that, that's just a basic casual life. Casual, standard, content, stable. Everybody's got that. But when you want to excel and really have the independence that God has given you through a divorce, that's what you're getting. You're getting independence. And if you get wrapped up with a second marriage and what do you call that, a blended family, oh my God. My buddies have, none of them work. None of them. I've hardly seen any blended marriages work. And as I mentioned before, I hit almost everything. I got my retirement. I got my Social Security. I always had a goal. Once I hit all the goals, I was about 70. I said, what am I going to do? There's nothing else to do. What other achievement do I have? And I can't really help anybody in my age because they're already retired or got problems and, it's all negative shit. I've said, I don't want that. And what I really appreciate is my father has given me an example of a role model of how to live to 100. And believe me, he's had problems, and some of those problems were me. Okay? I started out my YouTube saying, always bring joy, until one guy got back to me and says, listen, Rock, you got to stop always bring joy because my ex-wife's name is Joy. I thought that was funny. So guess what? I promised him I won't use it. Oh, my God. So this message basically is I just spent a Sunday. I talked to my 2 boys, which is awesome. I went outside. I see my grandkids growing up. FaceTime. I'm out of state with all my kids and my grandkids. And FaceTime is awesome. My father, I talked to, he uses an iPhone. He'll use FaceTime. It goes all over. He calls it Facebook. And I know he listens to my videos, my YouTube, through my sisters. Because my sisters think, what's going on with Rock? He's going crazy. No, I'm not. No. I'm just telling the truth. I feel relevant. I like what I do. I got a game plan. This is my 8th business in my career, 50 years of business. And I'll tell you, I would have got bored. I used to golf and all that. Now I got into bowling and YouTube. I got celiac now, so I eat right. I eat differently. I walk. Yeah. That's what you need to do. You got to find something to do. I see people go to the bottle. It's not a good place to go. It's not a good place to go. Or they have hobbies like motorcycles and cars and shit. And some of these guys got money. These entrepreneurs that I know, I've seen guys always tell me, Rock, I'm worth this. My net worth is this. But you're a prick. You're a fucking prick. I don't deal with those people. That's the reason why I said, you know what? I'm no longer going to represent and be an agent for entrepreneurs. I like private equity because they're young, smart, and they have a vision, and they're going to buy a company. I can't even recommend companies to buy because they're idiots. That's why even LinkedIn's getting to be crazy. So I don't care how old you are. If you're 20 and you picked the wrong horse, you got the wrong woman, you got the wrong situation, or she cheated on you or he cheated on you, get out. Get out. Start all over again. You might have to pay, or the opposite might have to pay. The breadwinner usually pays. It could be male or female. But you just don't want to fuck it up for the kids, because that's what you really want to show is that was a gift to you. Your child was a gift to you. Your family was a gift. And I did the best I could to stay away from hate and criticizing and all that other stuff. My kids are basically finding out now because they're in their 40s now and they know. I'm not afraid. I have to tell the truth. And as I mentioned, I got a book. Here's my book. And that was the good shit. Now, my voice on YouTube is evergreen forever. My grandkids someday are going to say, Papa Rock was crazy. Crazy fun. Crazy fun. But I tell the truth. So here's my message to you is get on that fucking horse. Go alone. Put a plan together. Have some goals. and you sit down with your kids and you say, listen, here's what we're working towards. It's almost like your own ball team, your own hockey team. And you're the coach, general manager, and the boss. Think about that. That's how I looked at it. Okay? And if he says, Dad, I want to play hockey, boom, fine. Dad, I want to play the piano, boom. As much as you can. I had a friend that was a principal at a parochial school for many, many years. He was single, too. And he would tell me, hey, Rock, the more you can expose your kids to experiences, the better. Because then they really find out what they want to do. And a lot of people my age were brought up by the greatest generation. So our backgrounds, our parents, were really different, man. Really different. And my parents, 11 children in the neighborhood was very uncommon. Lower blue collar. Our economics were low. My dad started making money. Let me think here. He was probably mid-50s, early 60s, and he just kept on investing. My dad was a saver and an investor. So we really never knew that he had money and he worked for it. But he taught us a lot. Live amongst your means. We all went to parochial school. All. And my dad never complained about tuition or anything. We were partying, man. Us 8 boys, 3 girls. Us boys were partying. My parents, I don't know how they put it together. Anyone that knows my parents know how great of a woman she was, because she was a woman of unconditional love. My father, very, very conditional, carrot and a stick. You fuck up, you pay for it. Once you're out, you're out. As he got older, he got a little bit better because he realized it's not my problem. And that's one thing you don't want to do, is bring problems to your parents when they're elderly. Now that I'm elderly, I'm pulling away from my kids. I could see their problems. I can't do anything about it. I'm old. So that's where I want you to come, is start realizing that hope is huge. A work ethic is huge. Communication with your kids is huge. And to go back on it, I believe I still had to have the business and my career as number one, so I could actually take care of my kids so they could live the life that I was hoping that they would engage, which is sports, education, and integrity. Those are the top 3. And I will say my father at 100, he showed us all. He is the Godfather. He is the king. I was just a disciple. And now my kids actually have a better dream and better aspirations. And they pick the right horse by the right spouse. Great kids. And now they're focused on education, doing the right thing, keeping their health good, stay out of trouble. All the good things, man. All the good things. So if I could help you, this is how I want to help you, is reshape your attitude. Forget about the ex. Forget about him. Shape what you want to do. Include your kids, but communicate to them. Communicate. I know my kids go to my dad for advice. It's easier to go to my dad than me. They pretty much know my style. They know it. And they could count on me. They know that too. But I'm not as, what should I say, controlling. I realize they're going to make their own decisions. They're going to pick their own spouses. They're going to raise their kids the way they want. They're going to pick the religion they want. They're going to pick their careers. What else? Their politics. They're going to decide. Their finance decisions are different. Some are riskier than others. And what I love is the way they're not only better than the next generation, they're bettering their kids for a better education, better experiences. And they are focused on excellence, not just content, satisfied. Top line. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure on these kids. But you know what? It's okay. It keeps them out of trouble. And that's what I mean about the sports. having fun, teamwork, playing with the kids, exposure, experiences. I love when I hear they went to Arizona or they went to Disneyland or they went to Europe. I mean, yeah, this is all a sacrifice by the parents. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But they earned it, man. They earned it on merit. They'll be fine. So here's my message basically is you can do this. But you got to think first for yourself. Get your game plan down. Share it with your kids. And guess what? They'll see that you have baby steps to achieve this. Because I told you, it's the long game. Being divorced, I'm divorced 40 years from the first wife. And there's still issues. Not with me. I'm just saying, listen, you got to deal with your mom, not me. Okay? I believe I achieved what I needed to achieve. I gave the best I could as a dad. Okay? And it was the best example I could be. You can do it too. And women, breadwinners, you just got to let go. And you don't have to have a blended family to do it right. I've learned that. Because I've seen a lot of people thinking that this is the perfect combination of man and woman. Okay, I think that's enough for today. God bless you guys. I hope this helps because I watch a lot of YouTube and everybody's talking and rambling and talking. And come on, man, give us some solutions. I'm giving you some solutions. But you got to listen. One step at a time. And then comment saying, Rock, this worked or not. Not, oh my God, this attorney and that. No, we all know you can't trust these attorneys. They're not transparent and they're going to fucking take from you. They say that boat has sailed. Okay, now it's your turn. And I think it takes almost at least 3 years to really kind of settle in. Settle in, start getting accustomed to it, making some moves. Your kids start getting structured. And your kids will talk to you. Oh, yeah. Depending on what age you are. Sports was the best, though, man. Because you could always be there. And there's always good coaches out there, good people. And then you get to see other parents. And what is it, 50% of families are divorced by 40. You know, by 70, it's 80%. Been divorced at least once. And if you were an entrepreneur like me, I was all in after my divorce. Actually, that's when I made my money. So in my case, my ex-wife, my first ex-wife, didn't get me on my high. And I believe that's God telling me that you got to get out of this marriage. And it worked, even though it painful. And it took 2 to 3 years to really realize, okay, I'm alone. And it was 22 years later that I remarried. I'll have that story for you another time. Okay? All right. God bless you guys. Stick in there, man. Think family. Get a game plan. Start looking at your goals. Put a strategy together step by step and then start communicating to your kids. And you're not going to be perfect on everything and not everything is yes or no. Okay? And you might have an ex that doesn't like you, like in my case. And I don't know what was shared, but I'll tell you this. I know that boys and girls are different. I'll tell you that for sure. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. God bless.